major covenants which have greatly affected humanity for many millennia. Firstly, the covenant of Nefertiti, which gave control over the, quote, angels and demons to the evil empire known as the Deep State or the Order. Their mission was to maintain the balance of both forces here on planet Earth. However, they found more power, control, and freedom from the demonic forces, and over time, due to the breaking the angelic side of the covenant by committing at least one, if not many, of the 7 deadly sins, the angels left them. They became satisfied with their rule in cooperation with the dark side of the multiverse. This led to the creation of soul recycling, advanced technologies, and many other benefits without the restrictions placed by the benevolent Creator. The quest for power and control started 3,000 years ago when King Solomon found more unrestricted power came from the demons than the angels. At that point in history, quote, God left him. Solomon had been appointed prior by God to this office, which I now hold. He was the guardian. Our history shows Nefertiti and Solomon did not exist at the same time. This is not true. The dark female figure was the incarnation of Isis, or in real history, the Dark Overlord's bride. The Dark Overlord in biblical terms would be Lucifer or Satan. Solomon would have been considered the incarnation of one of the 7 angels of destiny. Together, they were supposed to create the balance between good and evil in this world, as each had incarnated here many times over the course of 75,000 years. The covenant of Nefertiti and God Creator Source agreement with both parties and their descendants remained in place for 3,000 years in our time, or until December 7th, 2018. At the time, they pled to their overlords for an extension. The extension for 3 years in our time was granted. Since no negotiation was made with this office before their final deadline, December 7th, 2021, the stay of execution was terminated, and there is no covenant for the line of Solomon to operate with any authority any longer. Now, what does this mean for humanity? This means the Illuminati and all of their societies became defunct, and my guardianship was no longer restricted nor hampered by their efforts. The energy management or human loosh management to include, but not limited to, the energy exchange systems known as the monetary system had been fully recalibrated in preparation for abundant energy without control of the money black magic system, which had permeated throughout the multiverse. Free trade zones on Mercury were terminated, portals to the Black Sun removed, and many other changes in order to prepare for the second covenant expiration. Lastly, the souls of Isis and the Sephardic realm were returned to God Source, the Creator. The second contract was the ultimate covenant. It was known as the Covenant of Source, which led to the creation of the dark side of the multiverse and its battle with the light. Around 300 million Earth years ago, in our time, this began the terrestrial storm. The terrestrial storm affected the entire multiverse, with very few able to fully escape from its wrath. Many were told by the Dark Overlord and his forces, God doesn't think you are worthy anymore of his love, or you don't have a soul anymore. The lies told by this being of darkness grew, and every being, including humans, had the ability to choose until November 2021, when the battle lines were drawn. Those in the Order of the Black Sun and the Deep State made a decision. Were they informed? Yes. We and myself as guardian chose God, or the side of the light. They chose darkness. There was no going back, no canceling, and the payment for failure was to be your life. The covenant was known here on Earth as the Gales of Indiscretion. This covenant renewed automatically every 1,008 years on Earth unless it met with opposition, a firm covenant with our Creator, and a declaration by the guardian, myself, this planet, and all its inhabitants belongs to God, in a firm agreement not to violate any of the deadly sins. Moreover, many planets made a commitment to peace. Many races and many guardians did the same. The archivists of every nation were notified via the Hall of Records. They sent out warnings to militaries, governments, and the entire control structure set up by the former Dark Controllers that unless we came to terms, the expiration of the entire structure would crumble. None of the elite had heeded the warnings. None came to the table. On January 7th, 2022, the entire structure began to crumble. The heads of the order once again lied to their minions and told them there was no expiration of the covenant. From January 7th through Monday the 10th, they proceeded to try to access accounts worldwide. Complete access denied, as they no longer had any access to any management of humanity. The Dark Overlord had returned to Source several months ago. They thought there was a hope of a replacement, and they would once again gain access to their beloved demons. No replacement came, no angel of death appointed. His bride Isis also returned back to Source, and their lower astral beings slowly wilted away. On the 7th of January 2022, the covenant known as the Gales of Indiscretion was terminated. Moreover, the covenant of Source. On the 7th of January 2022, the terrestrial storm finally ended, bringing about the day of reparation. We are now free to begin the restoration of Earth, the beginning of a whole new ecosystem, exactly as nature had intended it, precisely as God, the creator of benevolent source, intended it to be. So what does this mean for humanity in practical terms? The Hall of Records sent expiration and termination notices on Monday to every sector of the Dark Overlord's governances. All Earth's secret societies, all false religious structures, all governments, all agencies, the laws of sin and death, all control structures completely gone in less than 3 days. All central bank licenses terminated, the United Nations IMF, World Bank, development banks, Federal Reserve, all reserve banks, and much more gone. So what happens next? What is the way forward? The Global Peace and Restoration Consortium of member states has taken the place of the United Nations. Unlike the United Nations, each country participates. There will be no ambassador appointments, no control system. The GIA will have appointed officials from every nation, which will replace the Security Council, not just a select few. Each nation will have a council or an assembly. Everyone and anyone is free to join as a member, to have a voice, to make proposals of their needs in respective areas. A community built on mutual respect, not only for each other, but for all life. The GPRC facilities will be built in several nations of the world and be accessible to all. The Scientific Research and Development Consortium is responsible for testing and creating new technologies as we move forward in all areas of development. Fuel, energy, health, transportation, and much more. All scientists and industrialists are welcome to join the consortium. This division is run in a cooperative structure, so there is no more need for a patent system. Temporarily, Life Force Enforcement will be acting as the world's military and enforcement unit under my command as official ground command. Currently, the world's military leaders, under the Order of the Black Sun, have chosen their path. I have been informed by the high-ranking officials they are not interested in working with the assemblies and the GPRC, therefore they have been replaced. If in the future the militaries and agencies wish to join the replacement government and protect the citizens of their respective nations, then we will address this issue at that time. NATO, the Secret Space Force, the United Nations peacekeeping forces have also been dissolved. We will not be sharing our advanced weaponry, our defense plans, our time travel, our space travel technologies with any of these groups any longer, nor will they have the support of others whom participated in the past under Project Bluebeam. If they continue to attack humanity with their bioweapons and antiquated missiles and mirror technologies on Mercury, we will retaliate immediately. We are ready. We have prepared for this time. All governments worldwide have been unregistered. This means they can no longer issue treasury notes, government bonds. All budgets will be rejected. National councils and assemblies will replace our current government systems. The national councils will be compiled of state and or provincial governments. The state and provincial governments will be made up of county, town, and village councils. This is a ground-up approach to government, one for the people and actually by the people. There are currently no registered constitution-weighted governance will no longer be allowed nor accepted. There are no more royals registered as sovereigns within the system. Further, societies like the Jason Society, the Knights of Malta, the Freemasons, the Knights Templar, kings, queens, and so forth have also been dissolved and are no longer sovereign, nor will they have access to any funding. Corporates formed under any of these orders will also begin to be dissolved. The Global Health and Wellness Consortium has replaced the World Health Organization. This group will be issuing life force assurance to all of humanity. No longer will people need to pay for any health or wellness related concerns. The focus shall be on removing chemicals and harmful substances from the air, water, and food, innovative 3D organ printing, alternative pain relief, frequency and Higgs-boson particle machines with etherical and plasma healing known to you as medbeds, the eradication of man-made diseases manufactured as bioweapons and population control by those who chose the dark side, agencies, our military, and other Black Sun-run laboratories. New research and development centers will replace all biological weapons centers in every nation and shared internationally through the Science and Development Consortium. The financial system will revert to an asset-based system. Debt instruments are only valid during wartime, and we are at peace and will keep this peace at all costs. This is our commitment. It is also your commitment. All exchanges of money shall remain in place for a period of 10 to 15 years. Once humanity rises beyond a slave mentality, we can convert to other means of exchange in the future. News channels and information shall be available for all. Assemblies are now required to broadcast weekly press conferences to be shared with everyone. The first annual meeting of the GPRC will be the end of March. Each division will be discussing initiatives for the year, structuring nations, peace agreements, and global efforts. We are expecting these meetings to take place virtually due to the current circumstances forced on us by the dying deep state. This is just a glimpse of the way forward. I have a plan. We have a plan. The world waits no longer for elite dark orders. We have won the longest war in human history, if not the history of the universe. The rest of our lives begins today. The most precious gift we can give to ourselves, our neighbors, our nations, and each other is time. Choose wisely how you spend it. Lastly, our regular Monday through Friday news shall resume next week. We apologize for the recent lack of reporting. We've been quite busy here at UNN. Thank you for watching and being a part of the greatest victory in history. And remember, we are the victors now, no longer the victims.